All right, let's bring in South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. Governor, good to see you on the show. Thanks for being with us. You know, after this lawfare last night, I'm sure last night across America, Americans were looking at probably 3 states, Florida, Texas, and your state of South Dakota, looking for homes because they're afraid of what happened. And you've called this conviction a wrongful conviction. What is the South Dakota perspective tonight?
Well, what happened in New York would never happen in South Dakota. And I think that is what happened there does not even represent America. I woke up this morning saying, thank you, God, for President Trump, because I don't know of anybody else that could withstand this kind of corrupt attack from a judicial system that is bent just to destroy him and to destroy his family. And the fact that he still gets out there every day and he's still going to fight for us, for this country, and for our Constitution, boy, that gives me hope. So I hear most of America talking about what a dark day it is. I woke up today, though, grateful that we have a man that will still fight and that he's got a team around him that recognizes that this is the fight of history. This election cycle, November 5th, is going to be the most important date in history because it'll be if we decided we're still America or not.
Governor, Sean was from Wisconsin. I'm from very rural Virginia. You're in South Dakota. The people who we grew up with, live with, always look at New York City and the area and think it's just a left-wing corrupt septic tank, no more so than ever yesterday. So how do you use this and connect what has happened to President Trump to the voter? Because I talked to a lot of people today and they found this doesn't necessarily electrify the base, but it electrifies people who otherwise might not have voted for President Trump because of this, well, political corruption of our kind of sacrosanct judicial system.
Right, exactly. What I would say to people across America today, even people living in our biggest cities, New York City, Chicago, Detroit, is that law and order should be applied blindly. Everybody should be able to trust our judicial system. And what New York did here, what happened in Lower Manhattan, was not that. This was a scam and an attack on a man that a judge used that was prejudiced against him, limited his witnesses, limited what could be said, gave unconstitutional guidance to the jury, and then came forward with convictions on which would have never withstood even any other kind of a system like this. So I would say to people that those cities that have suffered so much where this kind of just judicial justice came down in New York, those are the same cities that saw riots and protests. They're dealing with crime and violence. That's happened in Democrat areas. In Republican states, we respect law and order. We respect the fact that there's consequences for criminal actions. That's not what this trial was. And that's where we need to speak to is the hearts and minds of those mothers and those grandmothers who wonder about the future of the next generation. We need a country that can trust our judicial system. And this greatly undermined it, what happened in New York City. And President Trump will prove that it can be trusted again when this is thrown out on appeal, because I believe it'll be a very easy process to appeal and it'll be thrown out immediately.
You know, so Governor, as expected, this verdict has become a major talking point on the campaign trail. Both campaigns immediately fundraising off it, with Trump raking in $34.8 million from small dollar donations, and that's still counting. It's even inspired one Democrat donor to pitch in. That would be Sean McGuire, a partner at Sequoia Capital, coughed up $300,000, saying he's prepared to lose friends. He also added, quote, fairness. He just let me finish this. He also added, quote, fairness is one of my guiding principles in life, and simply these cases haven't been fair for Trump. Is this going to continue, do you think? Are people just so angry that through election they not just give, but they also go out and vote?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that President Trump is going to need every single dollar, because he's not just fighting Joe Biden. He's not just fighting the leftists and the socialists. He's fighting the media in most of this, too. So he's got to have the resources to tell the truth and to tell a story that he's fighting for the American family, that he wants to get inflation down, that he wants to lower their food costs and their gas prices again, put more money in their pockets, make sure that they have the ability to live with freedom and stabilize the world. What we saw happen today come out of the Biden administration was incredibly destabilizing as far as what they decided to do when it comes to a very vague agreement with Israel. We need to build trust with them again. We also saw what they did with Ukraine, that really is an escalation of hostilities that President Trump would have never allowed to have happen. So we've got a lot of things going on, and Biden's been using this trial here to try to distract from all of his other failures in policy here in our country and beyond their shores.
And to what the donor that was saying about the one who gave $300,000. It really is a wake up to the American people, Governor, that if you let these people win this way, and they do this to a former president to stay in power, they will never run another election and never win another election any other way. It will be their tactic forevermore. And that's really what is energizing people who otherwise wouldn't have voted for President Trump.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I think people in America still understand fairness and justice, and having a place where the scales of justice are still in existence. So those large dollars matter, but boy, those small dollar donors make all the difference in the world too. I think that those are the ones that if you get a $5 donation from someone, you know they're going to vote for you. You know that they've invested in you. And what I would tell you is that President Trump is a good investment. He makes decisions. He says who he is. He doesn't pretend to be better than anybody else, and he doesn't think he's better than anybody else. He just wants to save America, to make it great again. And I'd encourage people, don't just give $5, $10 or whatever you can. Go out and work. Go talk to people. We have to win the hearts and minds of this country back. We know our policies work. We know what we do for actions can bring more prosperity to this country. We just need to win their hearts and minds and have those conversations again.
Governor Noem, we have to run. Next time when you come back, we have to talk about the VP stakes. We hear you're in the running. We'll have to get the scoop on that. But thank you for being with us on The Bottom Line all the way from South Dakota.